Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Stassi. Thank you so much for being here today. Oh my God. I am so excited. I have Spring Sims here today. Thank you so much for coming over to my little channel and wanting to be interviewed by me. I am deeply, deeply honored. You have no idea.
Yeah, I'm always excited to talk about literally anything. I'm excited because I haven't done a podcast interview of talking about myself in like 2 or 3 years, so it feels awkward. I'm like, what do I say? What do I do? How do I speak to a person?
You're killing it, baby. You are killing it right off the bat. Well, welcome. Before we dive in and I get to ask you all the fun questions I have in store for you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your Sims history?
My name is Steven. I go by Spring Sims pretty much everywhere on the internet. I've been playing The Sims for so long, 23 plus years. I started with The Sims 1 when I was 4 years old. Should have not been playing that game at that age, but I did. I learned a little bit, didn't play it that long. However, I really got into The Sims around like The Sims 2 era and
Mhm.
understanding how The Sims works, what they do, how they do it, and I really got into like storytelling and directing of basically micromanaging all of my Sims because I'm a nutcase and crazy and want to control everything. But I don't know, I've just been playing The Sims for a very long time and I've seen a lot of changes over the years of like diversity and representation and just the way the game works is
Mhm.
like really cool and understanding the progression of like from The Sims 1 to The Sims 4 and I've been doing it ever since and I make YouTube videos and I stream on Twitch about The Sims and yeah, that's basically me basically.
I love that. You're an OG Sims player. I'm an OG Sims player as well. I've been playing for 20 years and I'm
Awesome.
30. So 20 years of my life is a long time. And I agree with you. It's really changed and grown. Like I also really kind of got more into Sims 2 because I was a little bit
Yeah.
older. A question I'd like to ask people, especially longtime legacy players like yourself and myself, is do you wish that we could go like if Origins or EA GameStop channel, wherever EA Game Store is called now, um, if it had the original Sims that we could download everything, like all the packs, and the original and Sims 2 was back in Origins, would you buy it?
Oh, 100%. I I already own the original CDs. I have the Ultimate Collection. I remember when they were promoting the Sims 2 Ultimate Collection around
Yeah.
like the Sims 4. And I'm like, you know, I already have it, but it's free. And I'm like, I'll take it. It's free. I'll go for it. But if like they did it again where people pay for it, I'll buy it again. Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what it is, but like The Sims 2 it's just like the game that really changed everything. They went
I
from
agree.
2D to 45-degree angle to
Hmm.
like 3D with 360 angle, which is ridiculously crazy. And they had a mind of their own. And I know a lot of people don't know much about The Sims 2. The people who
Yeah.
were in that era, they know, but I think around The Sims 3, people are like, The Sims 2? I don't know. I skipped from The Sims 1 to The Sims 3 or The Sims 1 to The Sims 4. I'm like, how are you skipping the iconic game, the iconic generation that had literally everything? It had a mind of its own. So,
Right.
I don't know.
My theory on Sims 2, why Sims 2 is so great, is because when it came out, I think it was 2004 or
Mhm.
between that time, what was on the internet for us to do? Neopets, pinball,
Download games, download music,
the
weird stuff.
weird stuff, right? But this was like revolutionary. Like this, there
It
was
was.
nothing out on the market like this at the time. And it really kind of really pushed boundaries. And a complaint that I have for Sims 4 that Sims 2 did amazingly is the story and the lore
Yes.
behind each sim that is just absolutely incredible. And I really do hope and we'll get to see, we're starting to see a little bit more of that in Sims 4, especially with the later expansion packs coming out. We're seeing the new townies have a little bit more backstory, a little bit more gossip. But like I
Yes.
want that was just so iconic. And you have these kids coming in because now the Sims 4 base game is free, which I love. We
Oh,
need
same.
I want everyone to play one of my favorite games in the entire world. I just want them to continue to keep adding the best parts of this long steering franchise of the what made The Sims so great. And I'm a little scared that like Sims 4 had a really rocky start, but it's getting
Mhm.
really good now. I'm really curious. What are your thoughts then about Project Renee?
You know, honestly, when they announced Project Renee, I'm like, what is this? I don't understand what it means. But I remember going back to like The Sims 4 when like it was kind of becoming a thing. They called it Project Olympus or whatever, I think.
Mhm.
And it was like, okay, that makes sense. They're kind of like figuring out what to name it. You know, they're gonna call it The Sims 4. Of course, Sims 5, probably not an actual like name set in stone.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like Project Renee, the way they announced it, it was like, okay, I'm excited, but not really sure about it. I don't know if I'm gonna really like it. I'm gonna like it, of course, but like I don't know if it's gonna be something that's really gonna hold an impact for me to play for a very long time. I like the customization of like what you can do with build and buy mode of what they've shown so far. You can play on your phone, I assume. Multiplayer, play with other people, that's cool. But I'm like a single player type of person where I'm okay with multiplayer. I just don't want to play with other people. I'll play by myself every once in a while. But you know, it's gonna be something. I'm curious. I want more information. I want to see how the Sims actually work. The lighting seems really great of what they've shown so far.
Mhm.
What's building going to be? Like, how are we going to be able to build houses, apartments? Basically everything that we already have now in The Sims 4. How are we going to do that in The Sims 5? Project Renee. I call it Project Rotisserie, Project Renesmee. You know, the unborn child that's not even a thing yet, but it's still growing and understanding about how we gonna live, how we gonna do things, you know?
I I appreciate the Twilight. Were you a Twilight fan?
Oh, yes, I
Okay.
was.
Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Team Charlie.
Okay, Daddy Charlie can get it now as I'm like in my 30s. Daddy Charlie was delicious.
I feel
Um,
like everyone's like Team Edward, Team Jake, and like those two were problematic. They were crazy. Bella was delusional. She crazy. Charlie was in his own little world. Great person, great dad. Did nothing. That's a good thing. He was in his own little zone. He was great. The
yes.
other people were just crazy. I don't know. They were doing something.
Oh my God. I could not remember. Can I show you something? And there's no judgment here
Yeah.
because this is fresh tree. Um, I'm actually about to have my own office like out here, which is
Ooh.
great, but I still have my
Oh
Jacob
my.
New Moon in original packaging with a nice Walmart sticker on there.
Oh my goodness.
I was
Never sell it.
I'm never gonna sell this. This is too iconic. And now
You
that
know,
like
he got
people like,
married, you know.
oh, 100%. Oh, my husband is totally fine with me being a huge Taylor Lautner fan. Actually, it was so funny. Me and my husband and the Awful Gamer last night
Mhm.
filmed a podcast with like the newlywed game. That's why this is literally here because Alex had asked Team Edward or Team Jacob. We both said Jacob as we then pull out Mr. Jacob.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool. I love the Awful Gamer. I've been watching his streams. He's making like a Sims Legacy hub, and it's so
Yeah.
exciting. Like, I am a Legacy game player, so I live to see like how long it can take a generation from the first generation to wherever I go with it. But I'm excited for the website.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to get my hands on there. When it comes to like my like current Sims gameplay, it's
Hmm.
very sparse these days because podcasting does take up a good chunk of my time. And I do work a full-time job that's not
Yeah.
this. And I have a story like Boris Chronicles, it's a Sim story, but I can't wait to go when I get access to it of being like, I need to finally put out this family tree. And I'm just excited. And I think it's just something so cool that the community is absolutely
Yeah,
gonna love. And we love Alex on this channel. Like
me too.
we love him. But yeah, anyways, so you when you talk about YouTube,
Yeah.
you have like over 2,000 YouTube videos. That is incredible, spanning I think over 8 years, correct?
Yeah, because I started this channel, Spring Sims, in like 2015. 2015, I believe, but I had a whole separate like Sims YouTube channel dating back to 2011. So I've been on the internet since I was a literal infant.
Talk to me about how not only has YouTube changed in the last 12 years, but how has the Sims community changed on YouTube in the last
Oh
12
my
years?
gosh. It's changed like very dramatically because when I started making Sims YouTube videos back in like 2011, 2010, when it was like 14, 13, 14, it wasn't really as like big because I didn't really like explore that much, but I knew people uploaded stuff on YouTube and like I
Mhm.
like writing, I like directing, I love The Sims. I want to share my stories about what I'm doing on the internet.
Mhm.
And you know, you have to be like 13 years old to actually have an account on social media. So I'm like, now is my chance.
Yeah.
Um, and I did like a bunch of like collaborations and a bunch of like sim machinima type videos, which basically, if you don't know what those are, it's like a short film, but in The Sims, basically, but we call it machinimas. And I did it for a very long time, and I did it with one of my other friends. We wrote like a whole series called Remember Me, not the Remember Me movie based off of that one movie was like Robert Pattinson, I believe. It's
Yes.
not that one, but it's like a completely different one. Back then, it was like teenage pregnancy and lovey-dovey stories. It was a whole weird mindset and like era in 2011, and around like The Sims 3 came around, a lot of people started uploading let's plays and builds
Mhm.
like James Turner and Urban Sims and Deli and Steffo Sims and even Queen and Life Simmer. I love Life Simmer and Queen and Urban and Deli and James. Like those people really kind of shaped the Sims community, at least for me as like a viewer, but also as like a player, where like Jen and Life Simmer and Queen really showed like you can basically create whatever you want, have fun, quirky Sims, or have a very deep, rich backstory for every single Sim. But also you can have fun like just playing the game for what it is without any mods or custom content or like just no story at all, just playing for what it is. And then James and Deli, they were really like very big, I feel like in the big building community in my eyes
Mhm.
when I was watching them back in the day, and I still do. And it's like their building style was so cool. Their dynamic, their chemistry, their everything was like amazing. And I was like, maybe I could do this too, but I never really delved into the whole Let's Play journey until I started making my Sims content on Spring Sims back in like 2015. Now, I
Mhm.
wasn't the best Let's Player. I wasn't like the best, you know, person. I never showed my face on camera up until like I think 2020 or something like that, 2019. I was very behind the scenes, only voice, only just me. And I don't know, I just kind of like took my whole Sims journey like deeper, and I wanted to like be able to share like different challenges and different builds and kind of experiment. And watching the Sims community grow from where I started to now, it's become a lot more grown up, if that's even a thing. I feel a lot of people have grown with The Sims, especially on the internet,
Mhm.
content wise, playing wise, whatever they're doing. I think we are more sure of ourselves. We were
Mhm.
all kids or adults or whoever, but I feel like we've all grown up and we're really sure like what our content is going to be and how we're going to do it. And we've also learned that I guess every YouTuber has learned this, is like we're making content for ourselves, but we're also making content for our audience, but
Mhm.
we're trying to make stuff that makes us happy at the end of the day. Because we're just making content for second making content. What are we doing?
Mhm.
And I didn't learn that until like 20, I think 16, 17 or something like that, that I need to start making content for myself. And I love story driven, chaotic, wholesome family gameplay. And it's like I need to start making that more often because that's what I resonate with. And that's how I kind of found my love of The Sims. And going back to The Sims 2, like we were saying earlier, that The Sims 2 was the iconic generation that everyone in the world should have played. No matter how old they were, they should have played, minus the cutscenes. But I feel like the backstories of every single sim, their family bios, but every single sim had their own individual bio, which made
Mhm.
you understand who they really were without connecting them to the actual family. They had a memory system dating back to when they were literally born, who taught them how to walk,
Mhm.
talk, potty train. So The Sims 2 really kind of made me want to like bring that into The Sims 4 and The Sims 3 and in my own work and wanting to be able to become like a director. Like The Sims 2 literally defined my life of wanting to be like an actual writer, director, producer in the real world. And I still do. And I don't know, it's like I don't know, The Sims just makes me happy. It's like my escape from reality and it makes me like who I am, even though if I didn't make YouTube videos, I would still play The Sims regardless. And it's, I don't know, the game is just phenomenal over the past like 23 years.
I think that was actually such a great answer. You
I don't even know
surprised
what I
me.
said.
I love it. I love it. I think it's really fascinating, and you touched on a lot of good points. Like we kind of grew up with the game, and now we're all adults, and now we're making kind of
Yeah.
more adult content because we are now adults. We're adults that own homes, are getting married, have kids, have responsibilities, right? So
Yep.
we're kind of putting that more into what we see in The Sims, into our storytelling, because we resonate maybe with our day-to-day struggles, and we are seeing it, and we can then represent like, oh, I understand how that person is going through because I also have same X, Y, and Z struggles.
Yes.
I filmed a lot of podcasts, and most of the creators I've talked to only really started their Sims journey as adults when the pandemic hit, self included. I lifetime Sims player. I would have never thought of YouTube for Sims content before Kelsey and Peacha K's 100 Baby Challenge with
Oh
BuzzFeed.
yeah.
It didn't even cross my mind. I remember I was in a dark place at the time, and
Hmm.
we were moving from a different city. There was a lot of things were just really uncertain, and I turned on the TV and I was like, what is this 100 baby challenge? Because I'm a BuzzFeed girl. Like that's like I do the poll quizzes every day. Like, who are you marrying? Even though I have a husband. But pick your Starbucks order and we'll tell you who you belong with in like X, Y, and Z. And it still gets me because like I love it. But I really fell back in love with it. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so much fun. Like I never really realized that this community was out there, because I was always just, it was just me and my friend that played Sims growing up.
Yeah.
And we had nobody else ever played it. So it was just us two. And then we went our separate ways when we went to high school. So I was like, it's just me. And then, life takes over. But long story short, going back to, a lot of people got into it in the pandemic, and it was just a healing process of just being, I'm at home, I don't know what to do, and I want to create content
Hmm.
that I can share and be like, this is like The Sims. And I love that. And we're seeing so many great creators come out of that, of just being like, I want to be creative. And now I have the time to do so, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people did definitely get into The Sims back in like 2020 just because we were all at home, we weren't doing anything. And I think The Sims allowed us to kind of pass the time and allowed us to kind of create our own life, whether it was real or not, or just whatever. It's like that escape from reality and allowing you to like just make Sims, build houses, tell stories. And I feel The Sims itself, like just as like as a game with the developers and everything, they also kind of, I feel like they thought differently. And of course, they make their packs like years in advance until they come out like years later. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're seeing the content shift in a different way. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen the trailers are different, the marketing's different, the Sims are different, the stories, the builds, everything's so different. And now that they're collaborating with like other people within the community to make the houses and hopefully one day the actual Sims themselves, that'll be so cool.
It would be.
Um, but like seeing that they're collaborating within the Sims community more with whether it's kits or stuff packs or game packs or even expansion packs, it's nice to see like they're bringing the community together within like the production early on. So it's really nice to see like a lot of things. It's gonna sound bad, but I feel like 2020, the whole Panini was like a good thing. I don't know if I feel like it was a good thing in my mind because it allowed me one to slow my roll. I graduated in the pandemic in May. And I was like, I might as well do this whole YouTube thing full time, even though I technically was for like so long. I always had like school. I had two jobs. I was doing volunteer work. I was in all these clubs. So I never really had like that one singular thing to just do. And
Hmm.
YouTube and Twitch and everything else was that thing that, hey, it's only two things. Might as well do it full time and just continue to do it until I feel like I can stop. But I don't know. I think 2020 for me was a good thing, and it made me happy because I allowed me to like think differently, be more creative. I started a podcast. I made an online store. I got more into digital art. I got more into collaborating with other people and just being me and just allowing me to just do whatever I want, however I want. So I don't know. Some people may think it's wrong, but I think the panini was great minus the other things, but we don't get into that right now. But I I feel like it was just good being home personally.
I think it was a big change for
Yeah.
a lot of people. It's like for myself, I it was the first time in my professional career I was sent home to stay home.
Hmm.
And I didn't lose my job. I didn't have to find anyone. I could just be me. And I really got into building, and I actually used to build every day. Long before podcasting, I've always been a builder. And I built
Hmm.
like 100 builds in 100 days, and I released them. Oh, I was
Oh
insane.
my goodness.
I was obsessed with building, and it, like, looking back on it, they're like absolutely garbage because I didn't I've but I was to me they were so great. And the cutest thing throughout the pandemic, so I had my dream team, which is my three closest best friends. Um we were all kind of home. We weren't really sure what to do. The world was really negative outside, right?
True.
So I came with this idea because none of them had played The Sims before, and I had Origins. And actually, that's a lie. My best friend Sierra played The Sims because we shared our Origins kind of off and on because she loved Kelsey and Peach K 100 Baby Challenge. Like, she played The Sims just for Kelsey,
I mean, who didn't?
right? We did Sims off challenges. So every week we
Oh.
would pick a different topic. So the first week it was build your dream home under 500K. And then we would then go in, and then my fiance at the time, but now husband, would rate us. And like, he'd be like, out of creativity, 0 out of 5. Were you able to meet your goal? 0 out of 5. And we did that for
Oh
4 weeks.
gosh.
So we did dream house, we did $1 million tiny home, we did resort, and then we did Disney cast, and then we did houses shaped as animals. And then we did, if we were going to do 100 baby challenge, because we all wanted to get on for Kelsey Beach to pick one of our houses.
Hmm.
Never happened. And then last but not least, we did like a store, like make a store. So we did all these different challenges. And it was just so much fun because we didn't care about the pandemic outside. We'd be like, okay, who's using Sims tonight? Okay, Tristan has Sims tonight. Rachel, you have it tomorrow. I would get it in. And then Friday nights from 5 to midnight, we would go and we would go through everybody's on,
Oh, that is so
yeah,
cool.
it was just something to do. And then like everybody kind of got back to real life after, and I was like, I really like the Sims thing, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna start showing my stuff. And I remember, like, I was like, I don't even know how I got introduced to the Sims Instagram community, but it has absolutely changed my life.
Hmm.
um it's so cool of how people play the Sims and how it translates differently to everybody, but how this one game can bring everybody together. I'm a huge believer that EA doesn't make the Sims, the community makes the game.
Yes, I
Yes.
agree with that. Like we make the Sims, we play the Sims, we create the community, I feel. So it's like Will Wright basically gave us all a job.
Right? And that was
Oh,
like a dream of mine. Like, I just want to be a writer. I want to be a character developer so bad. That's all I want to do. I'm like, I have so many ideas.
I know they're currently hiring right now for like the Sims at Maxis. I know that. Um, I one time, speaking of Will Wright and Sims, when I started my podcast, I was like, what if I ever get Will Wright on my podcast? That would have never happened because one, t- he's too expensive, and two, I don't think he would ever be on. Like, why would you want me to be on your podcast? Like, I do different things. Like, So, what was like to making The Sims? Like, what was your initial thought? I mean, we know everything, but like, let's discuss what's going on. But I don't know, he too expensive. I don't got time for that, nor do I want to pay that price. But no, it'd be so cool though. Imagine the OG creator of The Sims being on a podcast and like just kind of going literal deep dive.
Oh my God. If I ever book him, I'm calling you. And you get to host it. I'll just sit in the back. I'll be a
Oh my
guest on my
gosh,
podcast.
I'd be down.
Now that you've talked about your podcast, I gotta talk about this. As a Sims podcaster to a Sims podcaster, talk to me. What inspired you to start your podcast?
hmm So the reason why I started my podcast is because one, I talk like a chatty Cathy. I can never stop talking. But it's like also I used to listen to a bunch of like podcasts way before like back in like 2019, I would say.
Mhm.
And I listened to like to the Lore podcast by Aaron Mahnke, the Pretty Basic podcast by Alicia Marie and Remy Cruz. And just like a bunch of like different podcasts. And I knew that I wanted to create something. I know Little Simsy, one of my good friends, had a podcast called Hey Simsy a long time ago. And that also kind of really kind of got me inspired to also do a podcast as well. And I'm like, I could do a podcast. I mean, I already do it pretty much every day with all my builds and all my videos. Might as well make one. But I told myself that if I'm gonna make a podcast, I want to not make it like a Sims dedicated podcast. Because back then I was like, I already make Sims videos and I already do Twitch streams about the Sims. I don't want to box myself in because I had this mindset that if I'm just doing this one thing, I'll be known for that one thing and I can never escape it. Like, you know how with actors, they get typecast a lot saying, you've done comedy on the show for like 12 years. You can't
Mhm.
do anything else. And it's like so hard to get out of that branch. So I was telling myself, if I'm going to do a podcast, I want to do something that's like, it is like there's Sims involved because I feel like that's what I'm known for and that, gets people to listen sometimes. But I want to it branch out where I talk about, the industry, the gaming industry, the acting industry, mental health, and just kind of getting more deep, rich understanding of behind the creators, behind the videos that we watch on the internet, whether they're sim YouTubers or lifestyle creators or actors, whoever
Mhm.
who is willing to talk. Because sometimes people don't know what people are going through day in, day out, because people get hate on the internet 24/7, and it's so awful what people go through that they don't understand what their real life is actually about without sharing that real personal behind the scenes because people go through mental stuff all the time. And I
Mhm.
think if you're under watching a creator for like 30 minutes an hour, you don't really get to see their lives out of that because some people don't make vlogs, some people don't stream, some people don't really post on Instagram or have really social media. So kind of getting that mindset of like, hey, it's okay to talk, it's okay to cry, it's okay to scream. We just want to understand what's going on and understand how you are feeling, not having to put on like this persona of like saying, hi everyone, it's me, like it's me on the internet, whatever. Because I feel like everyone has that YouTube voice where our
Yeah.
pitch goes up like 10 octaves, but in real life we're like this low. I mean, personally for me, I have a YouTube voice. I used to, and I feel like I still do. I think I'm just a natural, like cheery, talkative, upbeat person.
Mhm.
And my voice is up how I'm like talking right now, but sometimes as time goes on, it gets a little bit lower because I'm like, okay, I've talked for like several hours. I need to calm it down. But no, I have a very natural high voice, but a natural like medium tone. But I can go up 10 octaves if need be, but I choose not to. But I don't know, my podcast was something that I wanted to do for a very long time. I did it. I had an editor, which was very nice, and I took a pause because life was going on and I felt a lot of things were going on for me and mentally I couldn't do it anymore. So I took a pause and I said, I'll bring it back for season two one of these days. A year went by, 2 years went by, and I'm like, okay, I need to eventually bring it back one of these days. And I want to bring it back. I just have to have the mental capacity to do it because podcasting is not that easy. It's not just turning on a microphone and saying whatever you want and uploading it. No, it's a whole thing. Of course, turning on your microphone, having some type of like topic you want to talk about for a good 30 minutes, an hour or so, and then uploading it somewhere. But the aftermath is like, social media, getting your podcast out there to like Twitter or, Instagram or TikTok and like marketing yourself because eventually, if you can see yourself doing podcasting for the long haul, you eventually want to get sponsors or eventually you want to make this more professional where you do on camera and you have a podcast network behind you to help you. And it could lead to awards and like, big, big things because podcasting is still huge and people think podcasting is dead, but no, it's growing. Spotify literally bought Anchor and now it's like podcasting for something. And it's like podcasting is good.
Mhm.
Everyone has started a podcast in any shape or form, whether they think they did or not. Whether you make videos, like that's not a podcast. It literally is. If you're talking for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that's a literal podcast with no video.
Mhm.
So it's like a lot of people I feel when it comes to like podcasting or just creating anything, you have to like take that mindset out of your head saying I'm not a creator, I can't do this, I can't do that, oh I only draw or I only like paint or something like that. You're literally making content every single day. Talking's making content, whether you're not even a creator like in the whole YouTube space. If you're like a banker or a doctor, you're making content, you're helping somebody's life, someone's accounting bills.
Mhm.
Everyone's a creator, and I think that's what people need to understand. You're a legit creator in any medium. I mean, Dr. Mike, he's an actual doctor and makes medical content and reacts to medical things sometimes on YouTube. Hello. So I think it's like the whole mindset of like having to turn on the camera and like figure out what to say or whatever. But it comes with practice. The more you do it, the easier or the better you get, the more comfortable you are with making videos. With all that being said, I like my podcast and that's why I started because I like talking. So if you can't tell, I can go on forever about this topic because I get asked this question a lot about not just podcasting, but just like how I got started, why I create, what I do, how I do it, and how can I do it as well. Literally just start. Everyone does it. Turn on that camera, take a photo, do something.
I had 4 questions. You just answered all 4.
I'm more than happy to answer them all again.
I appreciate it because I get asked the same questions all the time. This podcast has been nominated for multiple awards. It's had sponsorships
Ooh,
throughout the years, especially this past year. It really helped pay for the wedding. I monetized as well, so it also helps.
that's
I
good.
I will have by the time the season is done 200 episodes in 2 years.
Oh my gosh. That's like
I
100 episodes a year. Oh my gosh.
143 episodes in season 2, spanning a year and a half.
Oh my god. That's a
Oh,
lot of
I
episodes.
don't stop. I'm nonstop.
Don't do it. Don't stop. Keep going.
I can't stop. I'm too obsessed. I have to keep going. I have to see what this train takes me because I'm very much enjoying the ride because I get to meet amazing folks and I get to meet people around the world and I get to hear the stories of why The Sims is great. But I kind of had the same existential crisis halfway through the season of being like, I'm just known as the Sims girl that asks if you like PAX.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no. So I have, not only do I have this series, I have a second series that piggybacks on my main one called Real Life with Stassi. And when we sit down, we talk about real life topics. And to me, the most important episode I wanted to film this season is I got to sit down with an OBGYN and we got to talk about the importance of ovarian health and how we are not only is it not educated in schools or in how
Mm-hmm.
important it is, but signs of showing for ovarian cysts, PCOS, when to take birth control, when not to take birth control,
Mm-hmm.
signs of pregnancy before. Like, we got to sit down and talk about it. And I asked a lot of women, give me questions that you want me to ask that you're too scared to ask. I've talked to simmers we talked about ageism with a simmer that streams at 65 years old.
Yeah.
Uh, I've gotten to talk about what it's like to not be able to have kids. I've had conversations of fun ones as well, talking about the 16 personalities. I will, there's no topic that I will never shy away from because every topic deserves a time in the sun, regardless if I may truly believe that content or not. Someone else may say, hey, I believe this, and I might believe that, but I want to hear their side. I want to
Hmm.
know why they feel this way. But it's
That's really good though.
yeah, it's just so cool to be a podcaster and just being able to talk. Like you said, it's just a mic. It's just a
Yeah.
mic. It's just a mic and a friend. That's how I've always looked at it. I did listen to a couple of your episodes
Oh
because
my gosh.
I have to as an interviewer. I have to know, how was it like booking guests? And what was it like? I'm curious. As someone who that's all I do is book guests all day.
I mean, honestly, when I started the podcast, I was like, I'm just gonna ask my friends, like who
Mhm.
are YouTubers, I'm like, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? I'm glad that the majority of them said yes, because that was great, because it kind of got me into the flow of things. We knew each other, but we didn't
Hmm.
know everything about each other. So, it was definitely very easy, but also hard because like scheduling and trying to figure out questions to make and research and like understanding more. Even though like I knew them, I didn't know everything about them. Like so I
Yeah.
went down to like their catalog of like all their old YouTube videos, sometimes our first interaction, if we ever met in person. I went full on like research. I had several documents of, topics and questions and backup questions and rapid rounds and everything. And it made the podcast fun
Yeah.
where I was like, I'm trying to make it flow, but it felt like it was like structured.
Yep.
That's where I think where I fell off a little bit because I was too structured and I didn't let it flow as much. But I try, but
Hey, I appreciate it. And not everybody can host a podcast. I'm just saying that. Not everybody
yeah.
has the charisma to be able to hold a conversation for an hour. I don't know about you. My longest podcast is 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
so long.
as we know, it's everything on this channel is uncut. Nothing was cut out. We sat and talked for that long, and it didn't feel like it at the time. It was
Hmm.
incredible. That weekend I did 3 3-hour podcasts back to back to each other.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
I was like 9 hours in a day. I was like,
That's a lot of talking, I feel. For
it,
me, I mean, I can hold a conversation as long as I'm like the conversation is like good to talk about.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it's easier. And I feel like if I know the person and I know how, they are, how they speak, how they talk and everything, it's like, okay, I can hold a conversation for several hours on end. But I'm literal like a sim. My social bar will deplete very quickly if I'm not feeling it. I'm like, I need to go home. I want to leave. But most of the time, I'm like, I'll stay in the conversation for as long as I can and dip out whenever it's like, time. Because I don't go to parties, I don't do any of that stuff. But when I'm out in public in events, I'm like, okay, how do I leave? So it's definitely very awkward, but I think I do try my best to stay and be like in the moment and be very connected with the person that I'm talking to because, I'm trying to, show respect and, be there and like listen and understand and, just, just have fun basically. So, yeah.
I love that. Now, you said that when you're ready to come back, when when do you think you're gonna come back, like next year, or are you just when the moment hits you, you'll know?
I want to really come back next year, and I've been feeling this way of like I want to feel that's the right moment to bring
Mhm.
it back. And I felt there were different moments in my life. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to bring it back. I'm ready to do it right now. I had planned it out for several months, way before this whole interview, that I wanted to post it literally last month. But then things happened, TwitchCon happened, me traveling, me moving, and a whole bunch of spiraling and mental things going in my brain that just didn't allow me to do it. And I want to bring it back next year because this month and next month is a lot. And I feel like if I plan now, I'll be okay to start recording again and kind of get back into the groove and just have fun. But I think next year will be good. 2024, I'll be turning 28 in that year of February, which is very weird because I feel like a child. But what can I do? But I think it'll be really fun. And if you ever want to be on my podcast, I would be very excited.
I love to, that's what I like. I love being on like other people's podcasts because I'm actually the most like awkward person to ask a question
Oh,
because
same.
I'm like, uh so like here's this one time in like elementary school where this happened, which has nothing to do with the question you asked me. I usually leave people asking like once they ask me a question, they're questioning like why do I know this person? They're
Right.
insane. That's usually how I end conversations with people. But it's fun sitting on the chair because I'm
It
like,
is.
so like, why is the sky blue? Like, can you
I
tell me a little
don't
bit more?
know.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was green.
Oh my god, same.
Sometimes though it is green or
Oh,
orange and it's very weird.
oh, 100%. Today is gray.
Yeah.
I live in Canada. I live in Ontario, so it's starting to get winter
I live in
here.
Illinois and it's 80 degrees and it's ridiculous. It's like way too hot. Tomorrow's gonna be like in the 60s. I don't know what that's in Celsius or anything, but the weather's weird in the Midwest and it needs to stop.
Yes, I could not agree more. Now, you actually brought up Illinois. I was going to bring this up after. I love Chicago. I actually got proposed to in Chicago. Chicago is my favorite city to go to. I've been there 10 to 12 times, something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I not only do I love the food, I love the art museum. And my now husband proposed to me in front of the Bean. It was yeah.
Ah, where
I
you didn't
know.
have to pay because at Disney you gotta pay to get proposed there, and that's
You
ridiculous.
have to pay? How
Well,
much
I
do you
think it's like a wedding or something. Like if you want to have like Mickey be at your proposal and like other stuff, and also if you want to have your wedding at Disney, it's like tens of thousands of dollars to get married at Disney, and it's ridiculous.
that I did know, not to be engaged. I would have been like, how did they know?
I think it's like some people want to do like if it's like preparing and planning the
Oh, okay.
proposal,
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
a whole other thing. But
Okay, yeah. That's insane. Yeah, no, he literally proposed to me and I as soon as I realized like he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh." And then this whole group of people like swarmed. And
that's scary.
I loved it. Because I'm a drama queen. And there's like a girl in the back like
Oh
the
my
entire
goodness.
it's so cute. But as an own, I love Chicago style pizza. Now I have to ask, are you Giordano's? Or are you Illuminati's?
See, the thing is, I'm lactose intolerant, so
Oh,
I'm one of those people who can't really I can have it, but I choose not to harm my body.
that's fair. Yeah,
Um,
that's very smart.
I've never had that. I used to work at Little Caesars for like 2.5 years and I quit
Okay.
because that was a lot of work and a lot of stressfulness. But
Yes.
I've only ever been to Chicago one time, and that was
Okay.
like for a Google event that I did because YouTube stuff. But I've only been to Chicago one time, which is very weird because I've lived in Illinois pretty much since I was 9 years old. So it's like 4 hours away from me, and I'm like, how have I not gone? I think the whole driving part, because I
Okay.
can drive now, and I've been driving for like since I was like 17. I'm like, I don't want to drive. I literally hate driving. I don't want to drive ever again. I'd rather just float or teleport.
Yes. I
Yeah,
could not I want a Rick and Morty portal so I can teleport places and then teleport.
literally.
That's all I want in life. Okay, I will make you a promise. If you ever go to Chicago, I will go invite me and I will take you to all of the best places, all of the best comedy clubs, and all of the best jazz bars and where all the hidden food gems are.
Oh, good.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't disappoint. My best friend and I are like, we gotta go to Chicago like next year because I keep saying we're gonna do it like throughout the pandemic, and I'm like, can't, I'm getting married
Yeah.
because I had unfortunately I had to move my wedding like twice throughout the
Oh
pandemic.
my.
Well, I was originally supposed to get married in 2021 and
Oh,
2022. So
okay. That
yeah.
makes sense.
So it just kept the ball kept moving. I'm like, I can't take you to Chicago because I can't afford to pay my bills, let alone let's go on a trip. But if you ever go to Chicago, we'll beam there. You know what? We'll just like open up a portal. It's fine.
Hmm.
We know they exist. Like
Yeah.
if they have vortex walls in The Sims, like real life's got portals somewhere.
I
And then
just learned about the Amtrak, so I'm like, I could start taking the Amtrak up there. Way easier and way cheaper.
oh, 100%. And now Amtrak comes to Canada. So that's like how we're literally getting to Chicago is from
Oh
Toronto to
wow.
Chicago. Yeah.
I
It's a
did not
long
know that.
it's a long train ride, but it is gonna be well worth it because I'm gonna just eat food.
I
Like
would I would fall asleep and read a book or put on a podcast. I'm like, I'm good. I don't
right.
care 15 hours. I got my stuff.
Could not agree more. Well, now we talked about your podcast. What are your hopes and dreams and desires when you're ready to come back with Sims 2? Oh my God, you're season two. Season two. Season
Yeah.
two.
My little season
Your
two of
little
my
season
podcast.
two. Yeah. What any hopes, dreams, or
Um,
desires? Anything that you think you want to do differently from season one?
well, I want to definitely think about the questions that I ask and how they're like not always the same. I do want to have different guests on. I want to expand my range of like not being afraid to ask other people with like outside of the Sims community,
Mhm.
more specifically, just because I'm like, okay, I want to branch out and see how I can do this, especially with like hosting and like understanding how to host better, especially on camera and do it like on Twitch and do it on like different platforms just to kind of be there.
Yeah.
And my hopes is that it'll be very successful, that one day I'll get nominated for an award. That'd be very cool. I would love to be nominated for a People's Choice Award. That's what I would love. Or an
Okay.
Oscar, which I don't think they have a podcast category, but I know the People's Choice Award does.
We can make an Oscar. I'll have a dream of mine to win an Oscar. I am a huge movie buff. As
Oh,
my
same.
Oh my God, like the Oscars in my house are is Christmas Day to me. I watch all the Oscar films every year because
Same.
I need to make sure like I want to make sure that who's ever up to win because we there's always the darlings. We always know the favorites, right? So I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, because I'll be like, oh, like this is Melissa McCarthy's year or this is Leo's year. Like we know that going into it, but I want to watch every movie and I want to gauge it. Now, what I'm the most excited for is that Ryan Gosling is probably going to be nominated for playing Ken. Not only that, that I'm Just Ken could be nominated for Best Original Song. I can see that. I can see that happening.
Okay, because I saw the movie and everything, and I'm like, okay, it's very good. I love the
Yes.
whole film. It's wonderful. And I'm like, the song is good too. It's emotional, it has some deep richness to it. It means something. It's like I don't want to be ordinary. I'm just me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. Yeah, the whole Ken part, I don't really know. He had some arcs, some ebbs and flows in the
Yeah.
beginning to the very end.
Absolutely.
I think so, probably. Hopefully, because I mean, everything got pushed back because there's a current actor strike going on, so everything is
Yes.
literally on pause, and it's so hard. And I literally hate the AMPTP so much because I literally I like they don't want to they want to have certain things. They want to have where basically they scan background actors and use their likeness literally forever, pay them one time, and
Yes.
then use them forever. But SAG's like, no, 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 no. We're not doing that. We are going to fight for every single member in this industry forever. And I love that they're still continuing to fight the fight. They're almost, I think, 100 and some odd days right now,
Yes.
but the writer strike's over, which is great. But the actor strike is like, okay, let's resolve this. AMPTP, get it together so we can all get back to work because it's literally costing them billions of dollars
Yes.
for us not working. I'm an actor and a voice actor, so it's like, hello, come on, get it
Okay.
together.
I'm movie producer number two. I'm giving you your dream role. What is your dream role? What type of movie are you in? And who is your co-star?
Ooh, my co-star. I would love to be a co-star with Viola Davis or Denzel Washington
Okay.
or Samuel L. Jackson, I guess. One of those three.
All good
Um,
answers.
I would love to be in like a drama or a comedy. That would
Okay.
be really fun. Something like mystery where I live, honestly. I don't know. What was the other one?
Movie. Like what type of movie would you want to be in? I'm giving you here's
Hmm.
$600 million. Pitch me a movie right now.
I think a movie about someone finding themselves
Okay.
from their hometown to where they want to go. Let's say we're in the state of Alabama or Georgia and wanting to go to a new world, upstate in Canada somewhere, trying to find themselves a newfound journey where we have a beloved dream of becoming a musician, a director, a producer, but no
Hmm.
one really believed in us and we wanted to be able to get to where we needed to go, but we didn't have the right connections or the right friends or the right place or the right, environment to be because we had a very toxic family or a very toxic friendship that allowed us to think that we're not good enough. But we had to separate ourselves from that situation to move on. So we took our bags and dragged ourselves up north to Canada, where they say it's the land of the free healthcare, even though we pay in taxes. And it's like there's so many cool things out there, the land of the living. And we find my co-star Viola Davis or Samuel L. Jackson or Denzel Washington, and they're there saying, "Hey, kid," or "Hey, whoever, we're here for you. We'll help you. We'll guide you along the way." And then, in that moment, it's like things start happening for the better. But then a twist happens where it's like the pandemic, and it's like, where do we go from here? How do we start? And it's like the apocalypse. I don't know, but something like that. I watch a lot of movies and I do a lot of storytelling, and I never plan anything in advance. So it's like me just talking and then words come out. And I'm like, is it making sense? I don't know. But people think it makes sense. I'm like, okay, it's working. It's working. But that's all because of The Sims 2. That literally, I'm literally not joking. Sims 2 literally inspired me to think of storylines differently.
Hmm.
So
I would give you an Oscar. I'm just saying. No, I agree. I've always wanted an Oscar, like literally in anything.
oh,
Um,
same.
oh my God. I like that.
Yeah.
I also appreciate anytime I need to know anything with the writer's strike, I appreciate anytime you post on Instagram. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I am
yes.
more than happy to talk about it because I'm telling you, there's so much going on right now, and they're still in negotiation. The AMPTP said their last and best offer, which it really isn't. They don't know what they're talking about. They do, but they don't. But I feel like SAG, it's like Fran Drescher and the negotiation committee, they're doing so much hard work and we're fighting a good fight
Hmm.
for better residuals, protection
Yes.
against AI, and we're trying to make a better living, and we're trying to make a better living for the future of actors, especially because AI is scary. In my eyes, I feel like it's scary. Some people think it's good to have in certain situations, I feel, but it's like it ruins it a lot for different people in many different scenarios, whether you're a producer or an actor or a writer or whatever, or even a teacher. Literally, robots could replace us, and we're
Hmm.
trying to fight a good fight against that. Where we already have Chat PTP or whatever that thing is called, and some other AI writing things for us where we don't have to think or we don't have to write. We say, I want a red bird on a sky blue balloon, and it literally pops up an image or a whole literal dialogue of everything. um and I feel like in certain instance, school related stuff, I feel it's like okay in some capacity because that's education, and school
Hmm.
has a lot of limitations when it comes to computers, what they have access to. That I can understand. But when it comes to like acting and scanning your likeness, your voice, your face, your everything, and being paid once and then never seeing a paycheck ever again, that's ridiculous. Certain voice actors, certain actors themselves have had their whole face like scanned and in video games that they did not recognize, and they never saw a single cent, which is
Hmm.
ridiculous to me.
Hmm.
But also, like, I remember Tom Hanks had posted on Instagram, which is so wild to me. I'm like, Tom Hanks, you haven't posted in so long. But he like posted something on Instagram saying that if you see like a commercial floating around about a certain product, it's not me, it's AI. I wasn't paid, they didn't consult me. So it's like Tom Hanks is a huge,
Yeah.
big actor. We all know him from Toy Story and all these different films, Forrest Gump, all that stuff. And it's like he didn't endorse that. That's scary. And then I know also, may he rest in peace, Robert Williams, his daughter, it's like with all that going on, he
Hmm.
still has like the voice. He was a genie in Aladdin, and he had all these other big films that he voice acted in or did on camera work for, that they're trying to like the AMPTP is trying to use like living and dead people on projects that they either don't have a say on. It's crazy. And I feel bad for like Bruce Willis. He can't act anymore because what he's going through right now is very, very sad. And it's like I looked on Hulu and saw all these films. Like, where did these films come from? He acted in them, of course, but like it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, that's so weird, which is nice because I get to see his films. But
Mhm.
it's like he can't verbally do anything now, which is
Yeah.
not great. And knowing that if his voice or his face or anything gets used in his likeness without him being paid with his estate, that's gonna be very scary. So SAG is fighting the good fight against AI, better residuals, better pay, better compensation, better everything on set and off set. So hopefully we hear some good news and we'll all go back to work.
Yeah,
So
I again fingers crossed because I have a lot of actor friends out there. Like I hope you guys go back to work. It doesn't we have a different one in Canada. So it's a little different for us because
yeah.
we don't have SAG.
Hmm.
But AI is really scary to me in this industry.
Yes.
I use AI because I use Grammarly, which is just basically AI,
Oh,
right?
same.
Same, right? So like there's good versions of it. I'm petrified of because I have these long format podcasts of someone coming in here taking my sound and being like, "Oh, we don't have to pay her to do voice acting. We're
Right.
good." She would, right? And I'm like, and you have these kids who are like, "Yeah, I'll be a voice actor. I'll do whatever you want," and just
Very
sign their life
scary.
away. But they don't understand what they're signing because their agents just like, just do it. It's great. It's great. It's great. And then they're screwed for the rest of their lives. I found it really fascinating seeing some of the actors talking about their residual paychecks
Yes, I
when this all
agree.
goes out because you think of like I can't like I think it was a couple actors from like Lizzie McGuire or
Hmm.
just like shows they're like, yeah, like I make 12 cents a month off
Yeah.
residuals. Like I can't live off this. And my best friend's best friend, she's in the industry, she's a choreographer.
Hmm.
And basically she's like, so in the industry, you're known as this one person. And you
Hmm.
like as you know, like let's say Stassi is known as being the bitch. Okay. I'm the bitch in
Hmm.
every TV show. So I'm only going to be classified as that. So I will have a hard time getting outside roles of being like, oh, she's her from this and she plays a bitch. Right.
Yeah.
So like that's why you have to live off the residuals because you'll have a hard time getting work. And it was explained to me that way. I was like, oh my God, that just makes so much more sense.
Right.
I just associate it for like all these like star like Game of Thrones people like, oh, they're gonna live off residuals for the rest of their life. No, they
They
don't
don't
get
pay
they don't.
streaming. It's like a whole other thing too. It's like they didn't want to like share their numbers of how successful their shows are, and they don't get
Yeah.
paid off of that. Like Stranger Things and Orange is New Black and all of the big heavy hitter original series on these platforms, they weren't sharing that data or not as much to
Mhm.
understand like how successful, even though we knew they were successful because they kept getting renewed after season after season after season. And it's like, where is this all going? And so
Yeah.
hopefully we get that data and more residuals will come through, more better pay. And like not just even the actors are like out of work, it's like the people who are on to like the makeup artists and the
Yeah.
ADs and all the producers, like everyone who literally makes the production happen is like also out of work too. And
Yep.
that's even scary because if they don't have jobs, how are they going to live? Certain people have to sell their homes, their apartments, and move out of California where a lot of the times that's where usually all the productions are held, but now they're being held in like Atlanta and different, areas because now there's laws being passed saying, hey, we have this law in our state. You can film here and build a studio here. Tyler Perry, he's doing great where he's at right now because his studio, he's a director, he's a producer, he's a writer, he's an actor, he does everything. And he agreed with SAG's terms so he
Mhm.
can still do his stuff, which is great because he agreed. And A24, who makes all these like amazing films like Everything Everywhere All at Once and the Elvely, the Presley movie basically. Like all these other different like cool
Yeah.
films are being made. And The Whale, Brandon
Oh
Fraser,
my
I
God.
love him so much.
So
He's so
such a good
cool.
film. Yes.
Ah, he's
Oh,
so good. um
yes.
but yeah, I feel like if they just agree, then things would be good. And everyone can get back to work. The actors, the writers are still writing, but it's like we can't act because we're on strike. The writers can write, but we can't perform what they're writing unless
Mhm.
certain studios agree. I know that Lionsgate agreed to SAG's terms because I saw Rachel Ziegler promote her movie, The Hunger Games. So if studios agree, the actors can promote their work. Henceforth, they get more marketing, more money, and things come through and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's nice to see the progression of the industry grow from where it started way back in the olden days to
Hmm.
now, and especially how the strikes have changed over the years. And I
Yes.
follow everything on like Instagram, Deadline, Variety. I follow the actual official SAG-AFTRA Twitter account and Instagram account and their website to learn more about the strike. And it's just nice to get all this information from the official people who are spreading good information, right information. And if you're not aware, you can always look up on their website and it's all there. And I don't know, it's definitely a lot, but it's definitely good to talk about this because
Mhm.
not a lot of people talk about it, I feel. But I don't know, that's just me.
I appreciate that. Not a lot of people talk about it, especially not in like Southwestern Ontario. Like no one
Yeah.
cares, right? So you kind of get like these snippets of like, oh, like this is happening or this is happening. But it's nice to see like hear it from the horse's mouth. Basically, idea like this is
Hmm.
what we're doing. I do appreciate that SAG is fighting for actors because you need to, especially in this day and age of not getting like extremely overtime or not being part of the union or a lot hard to get into the union and protecting your rights of your
Yeah.
likeness, right? But that was a fun segue. I do appreciate that, and I love that because again, I'm a huge movie buff.
Yeah, and
um
also I wanted to say that if people
yes.
wanted to know more about the strike and what we're fighting for, you can always go to SAGAFTRAstrike.org, which is SAGAFTRA strike, which is STRIKE.org, to know more about the strike and what's going on.
The link will
Yes,
be below, so if you're listening to this podcast, just click on the link if you want to learn more about the strike. I think it's very important, as we all need to know, because we all deserve human rights, no matter who you
we
are.
do.
Yes. Now I'm gonna switch topics completely, and we're gonna talk about SwitchCon.
Yeah.
How was TwitchCon? Like that is just such a like a lifetime achievement and just like an amazing moment. Talk to me about the whole thing. I want to hear beginning to end.
Oh my goodness. So basically, I think they announced TwitchCon so long ago and said that, hey, we have like submit your content for panels or whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
like, now is my time. I can submit a panel idea. It was about creative approaches about charity fundraising, which with my friends. And it was really fun because it was my first ever TwitchCon I've ever went to, and my first time ever like speaking on panels, which is very scary.
Mhm.
So, and you would think I would get used to it because I had a podcast and I would talk to people all the time, but no, not in front of people in real life.
Yeah.
But I was on 4 panels, which is ridiculous. It went from 1 panel to 4 panels in a span of I think 3 weeks because I got kept getting emails,
That's
and
amazing.
it was a lot. I did 1 panel with my friends about charity. I had another charity panel that I did for Twitch Creator Camp, and then I had 2 sponsored panels, one with Fidelity Investments and one with Logitech and Logitech G and Streamlabs, and that was also very fun. One was about financial stuff, about how to better your finances as a creator,
Mhm.
and then the other one with Logitech G was about representation in the gaming industry. And it's very important because the gaming industry is huge and we still don't have a lot of good representation when it comes to POC skins,
Mhm.
hairs, like different cultures, different hairstyles, different clothing, different themes or whatever we get updates for, whether it's Sims or not. It's like it's still an ever-growing process for the gaming industry, and a lot of people need to understand that we need these certain things to feel represented and feel happy with what we're creating, whether we're making content or not, or just playing ourselves. And it's like, having pronouns and having, different types of hairstyles or different types of like gender in the game is good. Like Sims does like a really good job. Like Sims has been going for 23 years. It's never going to end.
Mhm.
We have so many things thanks to Momo Misfortune for fighting the good fight of making a petition that they made for pronouns in The Sims. Now we have pronouns, and we have binders and shapewear, we have hearing aids, we have glucose monitors, we have so many cool things. And then also thanks to like X Mirror Mira for better skin tones in The Sims 4. Like if it literally wasn't for X Mirror Mira, we literally would have the ashiest skin tones in the game, I feel.
Mhm.
And now we have a plethora, and we have a slider to make the skin tones lighter or darker to whoever we want. And we can also save them as well for continuously over our save files. And it's nice to have that. And then, with Ebonics of adding in, new hairstyles and nails and like basically The Sims consulted and worked with Ebonics and X Mirror Mirror and Momo with these different features that we've been wanting for so long. And even having the time to expand their range of who they work with, how they work with the people, especially outside of their company,
Mhm.
shows that they really do care. But also things do take time because game development is just not a one-timey thing. You just open up your program, make something, and publish it. It takes time to like get things approved by the higher ups, but also by the companies that like Xbox and PlayStation to get their games onto their platforms, and trying to think of new ideas for their game. Like Sims specifically, they make their packs in advance. Like we've all known that. They've said that for so many years, that they make their packs in advance. They hold meetings of all these different things. We had community stuff packs where we as a community got to vote on what we wanted, and it actually happened. I remember I think it was laundry day
The
stuff or
laundry.
some type of pack, I believe. And it was nice to have that involvement of seeing behind the scenes of like all these different options and saying, here, pick X, Y, and Z of like what build theme, what cast theme, what the overall theme you want to see. And it's nice to see that we're getting more cultures. Like the new expansion pack for Rent is basically inspired by Thailand, and
Yeah.
that's really cool. And I just love that the fact that they have so many different cultures. I call it the Yeehaw Pack because I feel like there's no other way of saying horse ranch, but I call it the Yeehaw Pack. I mean, I loved the Snowy Escape Pack. That was really fun of having that representation,
Mhm.
and then having all the other different packs because most of the worlds I feel in The Sims 4 are very Americanized and feel so American, and that just feels weird. And
Yeah.
it's okay, but it's not okay at the same time because I think having different styles of worlds does make it better to see yourselves within the game, and also working with other simmers from said countries or said, backgrounds to work on the pack is also very cool. So I don't know, they just do a really good job, and I feel like The Sims just it's never ending and it'll never stop because they always think of new ideas. They literally give us they basically ask us for input on what we want to see. They have literally launched a whole brand new Discord, a public Discord, which I thought was insane at the first time. 'Cause I'm like, that's a lot of people. It has like
Mhm.
26,000 people in that Discord right now, and that's scary. But it has since gotten better, which is very nice. But I think having one way to bring us all together in one format, one platform is nice because we can all communicate together and we can always see the excitement amongst each other. Everyone has their own stories, everyone has their own way of creating, whether it's Sims or builds or literal storytelling or challenges. And the Sims community continues inspires me to be better, do better, and speak up on things that are important. And I don't know, I don't really consider myself a big simmer, as some people call me, which it feels weird, and I don't consider myself that at all. I consider myself just a simmer who plays The Sims. And but I can recognize that I do have a platform as large as I do on certain degree,
Mhm.
then I'm like, if I believe something's wrong, I'll say something's wrong. And I'll just be blatantly honest. Like, some stuff in the game is crazy. I don't play with half of the packs just because I don't. I have them all, but I just don't play with half of them. Because one, they happen too often. We get these releases too quickly. So I don't
Mhm.
have enough time to really fully immerse myself into the gameplay. Like now I'm understanding growing together. I love I love that pack. I'm a family game player through and through. And it's like I'm really understanding that family content. That's what I really love. The milestones, wonderful.
Yeah.
Infants, wonderful. Never play with infants during the 100 baby. That's a huge mistake. Do it with one sim or two sims only, and you're good to go. Never doing the 100 baby because I have made that mistake several times, and I am only at 50 babies right now, and I'm losing it.
I bet. See, okay, so if I ever got to talk to Daddy EA, which he's never gonna talk to me because I'm a problem child. So I'll never be an EA game changer. I'm just gonna throw
You
that.
never know.
Oh, baby girl, I'd be like, EA, let's talk about let's add a little bit more diversity. Let's add some more worlds that are not Western based.
Oh no,
We're
there's
starting.
people. I
Sorry.
I literally am not joking. People will be happy for you to be in the program. People got accepted into the program not too long ago, like a lot of people, which is
Like literally
great.
yesterday. Like
Yeah, literally
literally
yesterday when we're
yesterday.
recording.
I know. I
So
was because everyone kept asking me, they're like, Stas, did you get in? And I'm like, still says pending.
I mean,
Yeah.
you never know because I think a lot of the times the program, you know, comes in waves. So it's like you never
Yeah.
know, it could happen literally tomorrow or the next week or next year. Because I mean, they're figuring out some new stuff. The program's changing. They're doing some new stuff. So.
Yeah, because I selected the podcast category. So I was
Mm,
like, we'll see. Who knows? I also did that in like 2021 when I was a
okay.
when I was a baby. And I was
Hmm.
like, yay! Everything's great. It's amazing. No, I go on full rants of like, let's make The Sims better and all inclusive for everybody. So everybody can make themselves in The Sims without needing to have CC to
No,
truly
that's
build
what
your
they
Sims.
want to hear, I feel, because I mean, whatever makes EA money, they want to hear all the opinions and all
Right.
the things. So I mean, whatever makes them to make more money, the better. Which sounds crazy, but I think it's like important because they are a company, they need to make money, so they want to make games that actually sell. So
Yes.
it's like they want to have people in not in their back pocket, like more so like in their like communities to say,
Yeah.
hey, we want these things X, Y, and Z and how we can do it. But also I think now, because we as simmers, we're chaotic, we're
Yes.
insane. We can go feral on so many different things and so many different topics
Yeah.
that sometimes I think certain people don't know how to like express their criticism in the right way.
Exactly.
Because when you literally yell and scream on Twitter, sometimes it will go into the void of literal nothing. If your
Yes.
game is breaking, you shout on Twitter, it does nothing. Well, it does something, but like not to the certain degree to the right people because they have forums for that. They have a dedicated Sims forum on people who actually look at this stuff every single day. That's their literal job.
Yeah.
That I'm like, go over there, go to the forums. Well, not the actual forums, the QA website or whatever. That's where you're supposed to go to
Mm-hmm.
to complain basically in the right manner about what's causing your game to break. They'll literally break it down for you. Do you have any mods? Do you have any CC? Can we have your save out and look at it more deeply? Like they literally will dissect the whole thing for you and tell
Yes.
you X, Y, and Z why this is breaking, or you should do this in a different way, or whatever. They've helped me with several things, even without like even before I was a game changer and everything. I was like, what's going on with my game? Please help me. Um, because I became an EA game changer back before it was called the Creator Network. I started got into the program back when it was Get Together. Yeah, Get
Oh
Together was the
wow.
second expansion pack we got for The Sims 4. That's when I got in.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a long time ago, and I feel like it was definitely very different. We had Sims camps, which was very fun. They were very small and very intimate. They don't do them anymore, which I'm very sad, and I wish they would do more of them. I miss EA Play. That was very fun, but I don't know. I think it was definitely a different time back then, and now the
Yeah.
program has changed for the better, I feel, but also in a different way. But I stay in my own little circle with my amongst my friends, and we can just kind of chill, basically. But
Good answers across the board. Now, what I was gonna ask you is I'm Daddy EA. I'm business daddy.
hmm
I'm gonna grant your wish. You get
yeah,
to what do you need added into the Sims 4? Do you think that will make it complete or whole?
more things for elders and infants. I mean, ever since they literally added infants, well, at first it was just elders, but then they added an infants, and I'm like, okay, there's two life stages that literally have nothing but a lot, I feel.
Yes.
Elders have a lot of things they can do, but they are a little bit more fragile and a little bit weird. I made a whole video about like why we need better elders in The Sims 4,
Yes.
and it's like my friend Little Simsy made a whole video about elders as well, but about cruises, which I think is a good idea to have cruise ships in The Sims
Yeah.
4, more so a rabbit hole or some type of like going on the lot, but it's not moving, which
Mhm.
I'm fine with that. We've had 9 years of The Sims 4 at this point. I'm okay with things not moving. Um, like cards, I don't want them. I really don't. Um, but I would love more things for elders where they have a better way that after they retire, their golden years are the best years, where they have a
Yeah.
chance to really immerse themselves into their life. Golfing would be really cool. Croquet would be very cool. Shuffleboard would be very fun. I mean, different types of foods. I know with the new expansion pack, they said that we have 5 new traits, and there's an elder Pacific trait called wise, because the older you get, the more wise you get. And I
Absolutely.
like that. And we needed
Yes.
more things for elders that kind of separated them from the other life stages because they all feel the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes they dress the same, sometimes they act the same, but
Hmm.
they have their different ways of acting. Elders have like they can retire, they can go get a part-time job, a full-time job if they want to, which would be crazy. They can go back to university, they
Yeah.
can hang out with their grandkids, they can move in, they can stay over, they can exercise, they can do all these different fun things. But it's like that feels like a younger side of The Sims. Like what we need for them is more things specifically for them. And then with infants, they're brand new. They came with base game unattached with growing together. So
Hmm.
it's like I would love to see daycare. Daycare in
Yeah.
The Sims would be really cool to have. I feel like we need new ways of like schooling, like having private school or boarding school would be very fun. Throwing teenager parties, like incorporating where parents get a free vacation like we had in The Sims 3 and a teen throws a party. That would be very fun and random. And I think having a walking cane, just because I'm nostalgic
Yes.
like that for The Sims 3, oh, it's so good. But no, I think elders need a lot more, infants need a lot more, and I think that's what would make the game complete for me. I guess like also having another like cultural world. I would love a world based on like Africa would be very cool, or like an African type style world would be really cool. More hairstyles, more POC hairs would be very nice to have as well, because I'm running low on my CC, and I love my custom content, but sometimes I got too much and I need to take some stuff out. So having the in-game stuff would be way better when we have more representation. So
That
I
is
don't know.
all. I love that. That's all I've literally been saying for like the last like 6 months to a year is I want a golden ages. I want
Yeah.
walking canes. I want wheelchairs. Not
I
just
would
for
love
elder, but for
wheelchairs.
everybody. For
Yeah.
proper representation. I want missing limbs. Not everybody has 2 legs and 2 arms.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
want
sign language.
sign language. Yeah, if you're blind
Mm-hmm.
or if you're deaf. Like I want those kinds of stuff added to the game. I want more inclusivity for more disabled. I want to see wheelchair ramps. I
Oh, I
want it
would love
I
that.
want to see everybody be able to make themselves in the Sims, and I want more body types. I want proper distribution of
Yes.
fat. Why is everybody like out to here?
Yeah.
I was so mad when I saw growing together. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get retirement homes. Like,
Oh,
yes,
literally
but
same.
I literally said this. I held a whole podcast dedicated to that whole topic of like we're gonna finally get retirement homes, and I was so mad because my whole theory is why do we go from 45 to 110? Why do why are we like I literally just made a post on Instagram this week. I was like, the literal Bachelor has a golden years. How come EA
Literally.
does not have a golden years? And like, why are we skipping over it? In my opinion, is probably like the best like age range because you
It
don't
is.
you're tired. Like this is what I want here. I want special interactions between grandparents and grandbabies that can only happen if you're like super high up because that's real life.
Yeah.
That's real life, right? So like why are elders sent out to pasture and they live for 5 minutes?
Mhm.
So I want elders completely redone. Daddy EA, call me. I have ideas.
EA,
Um,
please, if you're here, please pick up the phone. I swear.
I know you listen. We can be friends for this one. But like, but this is what we want. And
Yeah.
I get into fights all the time on online because they're like, we know we need preteens. No,
No, no,
no,
no.
we don't need
I
another stage for fucking 100 babies. I'm sorry, we don't.
no.
No,
I feel a lot of people do want preteens and like, no, please,
no.
because we
Just
already
redo
have,
teens. Sorry, I didn't
yeah.
mean to cut you off. Just why
No, it's fine.
teens and young adults look the same? Like, did they like is it the writers of Riverdale on the Sims team? Like, teenagers do not look like they're 40. Teenagers
No.
are shorter and they're funny and they're skinny and they're full of some of them are full of acne. And they just
Yeah.
kind of like like they look like kids. They're not 20. It's like basically, oh, I'm 19 to 20. I'm an adult now.
I do.
They don't do anything. They just like slightly get taller and their cheeks get a little less puffy.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do have the mistake of making my teenagers look a little bit older. Like I just made a teenager. Well, I didn't make a teenager. I aged up a child to a teen and made them look a little bit more older just because the story that I was telling. For
Yeah.
me, I'm like, ooh, this just looks a little bit crazy. But going back to the whole teenager stage, because I was talking about this for a very long time on my streams, and I think several videos I was talking about, which I should make a video about at some point soon.
Mhm.
But like children and teens, it's like the gap between them two are like very vital for like just growing in general in real life.
Yes.
Like the first half of a child's life stage is like childhood years. Whatever lifespan you play on, that little chunk half is that
Yeah.
childhood stage. But then the second half is like your preteen years. You get a little bit awkward. You may have some acne or some like
Yeah.
as a child. You don't get taller, you don't do anything, but you have like special little interactions that really make them teenager like, but not full on teenager. The first half of the teenage life stage is still that preteen stage. Like that whole little gap right there is what the preteen stage should be.
Hmm.
But as soon as they get past the whole first half of their teenage lifespan, they're a full on teenager, whether you're playing on short, normal, or long lifespan,
Yes.
and you experience all of that. But then I can also see how, like, they need to see, like, different ways of how they act, how they grow. And it's hard because I don't think that we'll ever have a way where it could be like having these certain features in base game. The way the game functions now, it's like you need a certain pack in order to have the full-fledged features. What I was a little bit upset about, but also happy about at the same time, we got infants. That was really cool. I love that life stage so much. But in order to feel the full effect of infants, you would need growing together to experience literally everything about them. The milestones, the special
Hmm.
interactions, the cribs, and well,
Yeah.
not the cribs, but the changing tables
Yep.
basically, because we have base game changing tables. Well, actually, no, we don't. We don't have changing tables in base game, but we have the ones in growing together that function like changing tables. And it's like base game users who have the game only, the base game, only get infants their favorite foods or their not favorite foods, and that's literally it. And it's so sad, and I wish there was more that they added and included into the base game initially for infants when we got growing together to make them a little bit more alive.
Yes.
And I say this like so kindly, base game people lucky because I'm telling you those milestones are fun, but they are a hassle. The infants require so much more work than anything else because they tend to the needs more often than any other life stage. And I have had this on multiple occasions where I will get a hurt sentiment from the older kids because I wasn't paying attention to them more than
Hmm.
the younger kids. So it was like very weird. But still, with that being said, I think that a lot of the times infants need it more. And we needed more ways to make the life stages a little bit more different compared to the others. And teenagers specifically, they're like at the pit of their whole life, whether they're just starting or whether they're going to age up into the lifespan, whether it's college or a full-blown job. So you got to think about like what do we really want? What do we really want to see in this like lifespan, whether it's literally just for kids or
Hmm.
just for teenagers? Because we can't have both.
No.
We wish we could, but we can't. But I don't know. I think that we just definitely need to have a better mindset of like what we clearly want in The Sims rather than just listing X, Y, and Z, you know? I
Yeah, I
don't know.
agree. I agree. And I hope that like EA will continue to listen to us
Hmm.
and be able to say like these are things that we want. And obviously beggars can't be choosers. We get what we get, and we will and the Sims will just be like, deal with it. I just
Yeah.
kind of hope more that once Project Renee picks up a little bit more off the ground, that they're not going to forget about Sims 4. I don't think they're
Oh,
going to for a long
no.
time. Like personally, I'm not gonna go run over and buy Project Renee day one because I
Oh,
spent
no.
a lot of money on The Sims
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
4. That is like a rent payment there, my friend. I'm sticking here for a
Yeah.
very long time. Um, I guess the only thing like else I would maybe add is obviously, a little bit more like able body. But like you said, like
Hmm.
Africa, I would say my ideal world would be an African pack, South American,
Hmm.
um, and then Australian
Ooh,
or like New
yeah.
Zealand and Fiji, kind of like out in there, or an actual proper Caribbean pack that's not like a knockoff of Hawaii, like true
Yeah.
Caribbean life, and get the
Hmm.
culture of
Yeah.
like
Like they
all
did
of
with like Sulani.
yeah, but like knock off Hawaii. But like I want
Yeah.
like but like get me like Turks and Caicos. Like let's get me like more of like our like I'd love to see a Portugal pack or a North Korea, no, sorry, South Korean pack. Or like an India world. Like I would love
Yeah.
to start I'm tired of Western based worlds. Do not give me any more Western based worlds. I'm
Mm-mm.
like I don't want a Canada world, and I'm from here, and I don't want it because it's gonna be Justin Bieber floating around with Drake with one Tim Hortons in like every fucking world. Like
Oh gosh,
Canada.
no. I wouldn't
That's
want that.
that's Canada world right there. But what I want the most is them to have all these worlds, but have people from those parts of the world in the room where it happens.
Yes.
So they get to be part to make sure that it's not a caricature or making fun of the world or not understanding the proper traditions that go in to
Right.
all of these worlds. So that's like if I had business daddy, if I got to talk to him, that's what I would want. It's just proper representation.
Hmm.
As a small white girl, I can make myself in The Sims like that. And I see myself right away. And I know a lot of people out there have to have CC or mods to be able to create themselves. And I don't think that's fair. So,
No, especially
no.
for console players, because I always feel so bad for console players because they can't download mods or CC. They can try, but it won't work. But it's
Yeah.
hard for them to do certain things. And like for me specifically, I always express like I have custom content, I'll use it to the end of the earth, but I'll never put any CC in my builds and upload them to the gallery because that's not fair to other people. Because I want them to one experience the game differently, but also
Mhm.
enjoy my builds as well. Because I feel like I work really hard on my builds sometimes, but it's like I want them to see the difference of like what a PC player built versus a console player, but also download
Yeah.
the builds and have fun the same way that we all do. So, but I never put CC in my own builds for personal reasons. I like my own personal gameplay. I'll put CC in anything,
Hmm.
but gallery never.
No.
My Sims, however, that's a different story.
Oh, but I think it's something that like I'm a huge okay, so I fight for CC in all aspects of the game because as a
Yes.
storyteller, I CC everything.
Oh yeah.
Because like God forbid we have a half open door in The Sims. Like we just got decorative pillows and the decorative pillow we got was garbage. But like the
Hmm.
CC I add into my story makes it real. Like and that's what's kind of missing. However, if I say I'm Cass, I
Hmm.
ha- I use CC, they're like obviously Cass is garbage without CC. I'm a builder
Hmm.
and I use CC. You're not a builder. That
Oh my
no,
gosh.
no, you're not a you could have used Red Shelf or whatever the other
Yeah.
tool. You're not a true no. There's some stuff like when I build now, I build for what I want. If I have a vision, I'm getting my vision. Like I made the Harry Potter Grand Foyer in a collab I did 2 years ago. Okay,
Hmm.
we don't have food in The Sims that I can like put out on the table to make it look like a grand feast of candy.
No, it would take you forever to have your sim make all that food and then place it.
Yes.
So,
Or I can go Candy CC and download and
that's
it's there.
true.
Right? So like does that not say that I'm not the best builder, that I didn't spend 17 years making my sim make candy? No, sure,
Hmm.
some people may feel that way. However, I'm more like, hey, I had a vision. I want my vision to come to be. Let's give builders a little credit because building's very
Yes,
hard. And if they want to use
especially.
CC,
Yeah.
let's let them use CC because there's so many talented CC creators out there that
Ah.
literally build stuff for builders. So
Yeah, and some people also, the CC creators, either make this as like their full-time job or like literally do it as pure enjoyment just
yeah,
because they love The Sims, but they also like sharing their creations to other people. So I like give the CC creators proper credit. If you use their stuff, you use their stuff because they love seeing that. They don't hate people who use their stuff because that would be crazy, I feel.
hmm
But that's just me on my opinion. But I think that a lot of people like custom content is free in some aspects depending on who you are.
yep,
But I think mostly it's like custom content is there for people to download and to enjoy. Like for example, I use a lot of custom content for like my builds that I use in my own personal gameplay. Like I love Hey Harry and I love Felix Alexander. I love
yeah.
Sixum CC. I love Little
Mhm.
Dicka. Like those CC creators are fantastic and there's so many people out there. And I recently have been downloading a lot of gameplay mods lately, like Panda Sama
Mhm.
and like Lumpio and Where's Boo and Deaderpool. Like we all know MCC and we all know
Yes.
UI cheats. The staple two mods everyone should have, I feel at this point.
Yeah.
Whether you use it or not, you gotta have it.
Mhm.
Panda Sama is really good when it comes to like they make the realistic childbirth mod, which in a sense it's literally what you think. It's a lot, but it's so cute and adorable. But when you
Yeah.
add in Lumpio, I'm saying that name completely wrong. But they made a whole mod of I think 17 different modules of the pregnancy overhaul mod that they made. And it makes the whole pregnancy thing so realistic on top of the realistic birth mod where you can like have adoptions, you can have surrogates, you can have, all these different things. You can separate temporarily or permanently or as another option. And it's so wild on how in depth the modding community and the custom content creator community is so wildly talented, where they take the literal game files and make something so huge. Ravishing is a whole nother person that I adore so much. I got to meet them in person, and they're so cool and creative. Where they literally take the in-game files and manipulate it to make their own thing. They made a newspaper stand. It sounds so simple, but no. As a game player and a storyteller, I love that newspaper stand. I love the whole bus
Mhm.
depot, the transportation thing that they made. Like simple things that make the game better.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. It just adds to the game. It just
Yeah.
makes the game better and it's whatever your vision wants to, whatever it is. Whatever you want it
Hmm.
to be, there's CC for everything.
Yes.
I kid you not.
Now, would I
Well,
love golf? Yes, because we have a golf course in Newcrest that we can't access, and I'm like, it's right there, but we can't
yeah.
get to it. But no, I think there are certain things that we could definitely have, but it's out there. It's just gotta search for it sometimes. But that's the fun part about it, searching for custom content that you want to have.
Yes. I could not agree more. Well, I got a couple more questions for you. We're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about Sparked.
Oh my
I want to
gosh.
hear about your journey. I want to hear like how did you like get in? Did you apply like once you got there and then like everything all the chaos that happened afterwards?
So I was handpicked by EA to be on Sparked from my point of view, from what I've seen through emails and stuff. I got handpicked, hand selected by EA to be on The Sims Sparked. It was filmed late 2019.
Mhm.
So it was all before the pandemic, and it came out in the pandemic, and people thought we filmed it in the pandemic, which was crazy, which we didn't. But it was filmed in late 2019. There were four teams, and it was really, really cool. I know we had like, a lot of the simmers that you probably already know, like X Mira Mira, Simlissy. Dr. Gluon, English Simmer, Stepho Sims, Dr. Ashley, Plumbella, Simproved, D Sims, Urban Sims, and I'm forgetting one person. I feel so bad. I don't know, but there's so many people on the Sims Spark that really made everything so worthwhile, and it's like that whole journey itself was just nice. Being able to
Yeah.
be on the show of filming it for the first 4 episodes actually, but also being um there at the headquarters and kind of going down the rabbit hole of doing X, Y, and Z at certain instances. And oh, Little Sia, oh my gosh, my good friend Avery. Oh my gosh, that was the other person that I forgot to mention. Little Sia, the Just Dance streamer that everyone should know. She's a coach on Just Dance 2024. Check it out. Free promo. I don't know. I love my friends. I will talk about them every day. Um, but no, Sim Sparked 4 episodes. It was on TBS and also on the BuzzFeed multiplayer YouTube channel, which you can still watch those episodes. But I will say though, if you compare the TBS version and the BuzzFeed version, completely different editing styles.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's like there's like the TV version that we all know, and there's the YouTube version. Like you can only show certain things on TV, you can only show certain things on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the editing had to be different. The judges were very nice. We had Taylor Park, who played Little Arnez in Hairspray, which I did not know that at the time, and I was shocked and very happy. Kelsey and PGK, Singer Ninja, and then the host of the show, which was his name, Rayvon Owen, who is an avid simmer. I think he performed on American Idol, I think at one point. But I will say 14-hour work days, very stressful, a lot going on.
Hmm.
It was definitely an experience because they painted Gluon as the villain. And if you know Dr. Gluon, you know he's not an evil person. He's so kind, so
Hmm.
amazing, so creative that like he isn't that person. But they kind of painted him the villain in the editing, which made it awful and gave him a lot of hate for that during this little episodes. But we've gone past that. Things are now
Yes.
much better. Um, People always ask me, like, will I ever do The Sims Sparked again? No, I will never do it ever again. Trauma. But I would love to go back as a judge or a
Hmm.
mentor, but never a contestant. Because reality TV, as we all know, is always, glamorized and just very weird. So I would never want to be a contestant ever again on a reality TV show because that stuff is stressful. But the experience that I had on it was fun because I was amongst friends who I consider my family, and I knew the place. I've been to the headquarters several times, so it was like not going into it blind. And I think with like literally all of us on the Sims Park, we knew the developers, we knew the producers, we knew everyone. So it was like just going back home, like just
Yeah.
going to another little place. So it was like not really scary, but the scary part was like the whole filming part and the pressure and like the timing and the challenges were definitely a lot. But coming out from that, it gave me a good experience of like thinking on my feet a little bit more quicker with like storylines, building, and also creating Sims and editing way different to make it more cohesive and make it make sense. So I would say it was a subpar experience that I
Okay.
enjoyed. Would never do again, but
Do you ever
it's
think there would be a second season?
no, I don't think they'll ever do it. Just because I think one, it was filmed in late 2019, all before the pandemic, and also it was something at the time when I think they were trying to do competitive gaming for The Sims, and that kind of died off after a while. I know they had like a whole dedicated team to the whole competitive gaming thing for The Sims and just in general, which they still do have like Apex and the other EA games, but not for The Sims anymore. But I don't think they ever would do the actual show, but what I miss that came out of it was the Spark challenges that they had on the gallery for the actual community to be involved in, which
Yeah.
I feel like that was really fun and it was really exciting because it made people be more creative and more stylized with what they were creating for like Sims or builds or stories that they were trying to tell. So that part I do miss because it was a good thing that came out of a scary, traumatic thing, I feel. But I will say though, what also came out of that, I think also sparked a good thing because um not the winning team that was Gluon, Simlessy, and X Mirror Mirror. Their team won, but Simproved, English Simmer, and Plumbella's team, their build specifically, or yeah, I think their build that they did that Simproved made got into eco lifestyle, and
Hmm.
since then they started, I guess, thinking of the idea, saying, "Hey, we should have simmers make builds for our packs so we don't have to, or getting them more involved into our production of the games."
Yeah.
So good things came out of it, but it was traumatic filming it.
I bet. How long was the filming? I'm curious.
It was like a week.
Okay, it's like everything was a week, or you were there for a week.
Everything was a week.
Everything was a week. So you
Yeah.
started on a Sunday, ended on a Sunday kind of idea.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
14-hour days. So we didn't get back to the hotel until like 1, 2 a.m. A lot of stops and starts because we had to, like, refilm a scene or like redo certain things like at different scenarios, say different words, stuff like that. But 14-hour work days, as most productions usually are, so it's like pretty much standard, I feel. Um, but it was a lot. It was mentally draining, I will say. You can ask literally anyone on the show. Will all say the same exact thing. It was mentally draining. We would never do it again.
I
But
love that. I like the honesty. I don't know. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, this is so cool." Like
yeah,
I had people specifically ask me to ask you about Spark.
yeah.
So there
People
we
just don't know.
there we go,
Like you.
guys. It wasn't worth it. It was good, but lots of
Mhm.
work. It was lots of work.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think the one thing though about it is like the filming part, the way it was filmed was definitely a lot. I think doing the challenges in that moment was okay. I think we were just not used to the whole cameras being in our face and asking us questions several times. I think that's what I felt because at that time, which was crazy, I was still in school
Mhm.
and I already had another job and I was in finals week while filming the show. So I was going crazy trying to do finals and also try to film the show at the same time and also do some other things on the side as well. But yeah, something that I think a lot of people don't know is that reality TV, it's real but it's also fake at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. It's all fake. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. Well, I'm happy that you went and you had an
Oh
experience.
yeah.
I think I'd be curious. I think I'd like to see it come back, but like do it a little bit differently. I don't know if
Hmm.
EA would ever, like you said, ever bring it back because I feel like that genre is kind of dead, but like maybe do something differently with it. I don't know. I don't know what business daddy's doing, but
They were gonna make a movie, or they were gonna make a movie about The Sims a long time ago,
yep.
and things fell through, didn't happen, and so The Sims Spark became a thing. Something that they wanted to do something Sims related and capitalize on the Sims community, because we're a huge community. We're very
Yeah,
dedicated. I would say the most dedicated franchise fan base in the entire world.
absolutely. We are loyal.
Like
We're
we'll say we hate The Sims several times, quit playing, but we'll come back literally in 2 years.
I know. It's because it's a hold on us.
Yeah.
I mean that's the greatest part about the sim. I mean that's a good part about Sims. Like we can pick it up and put it down,
Hmm.
like really anytime, anytime that we want.
Exactly.
Well, I got a fun question for you because I was doing some research because
Oh.
I didn't go blind into this interview as I typically do. I saw that you have a coloring book.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yes, I do.
okay. I need to know all these details about your coloring book.
So this coloring book I made back in, well, I released it in, I think I released it this year, I believe. I don't remember. It's been a long time. But it took me a whole year to create the coloring book just because, one, I had just got an iPad and I wanted to be more creative with my iPad. And I draw. I do a lot of things. And I was like, what if I make my own coloring book? I said I wanted to be a published author one day, and I still do, and I am now because I have a coloring book. But it's like I always drew random lines on everything I did in high school, and I would make them more defined and more detailed and add different things to make it more lifelike. And when you look on Amazon and you look on these different websites, it's all these like same old coloring books that have all these same different themes. And it's like, where's the originality? Where's the creativeness to all of this?
Mhm.
But it's like quick and easy thing to put out and publish and get money from, which is like, valid, understandable. People do what they want to do.
Mhm.
But for me, I wanted to put into the hard work and like really take my time with something that I wanted to create. So I spent a whole year making several different coloring pages, whether they were Christmas related, Halloween related, random lines, isometric designs. I wanted to do something. So I made a bunch of different pages. I think I had 23 different designs in one book. And I made it and I published it. Took a few times because, sizing and things, but I had so much fun making something out of nothing, out of my own
Mhm.
brain. And a lot of people seem to like it. A lot of people bought my coloring book, which is very nice, whether it's physical or digital, because I have the physical one on Amazon, which you all can buy. It's just Hello Spring Coloring Book. Or you can check out the digital version on my website, which is my online stationery store, which, by the way, there's a sale going on right now until the end of this year, where I have a bunch of like stickers, art prints, and cool other fun digital downloads you all can download, including the digital version of my coloring book. So, yeah. I'm making a second one right now because my community had reached a sub goal saying, release your coloring book for the second one. Like, okay. So I'm making the second one currently, while on top of maybe writing a book, like physical writing a book of my
Okay.
own stories. So I got some things up my sleeve that could possibly happening next year. Who knows? But yeah, the coloring book took time, but it was worth it. And it's something that I enjoy because I loved coloring. It's very relaxing, very therapeutic. It makes the time go way faster. And it's just like a fun little thing to color in while you're bored.
I love this. Now, I have two more questions and we're gonna wrap her up. Now, this is a fun question. As it kind of relies on the coloring book question.
Hmm.
So obviously your favorite color is yellow.
Oh, of course.
What is the story behind that? Because I have my first diploma is in color theory. So it means
Hmm.
I'm really good at reading colors. I have a $5,000 piece of paper that's saying I can identify colors. Thanks,
Which I
graphic
think I know a
design.
thing or two.
Yeah. Um, Yellow is a lot of people's least favorite color on a
Hmm.
scale. So I'm very curious to see, why is yellow your favorite color?
Well, like it screams positivity, happiness, joyful, sunshine. I mean, the sun is yellow. You need it to live, honestly. But no, my literal entire life, all the schools I've ever went to, the main like one of the main colors was yellow or gold.
Okay.
So it's like it stuck with me my entire life and I couldn't get rid of it. And as I got a little bit older and my mindset changed about a lot of things, I was like, let's incorporate some yellowness, some happiness. It makes me smile whenever I see something yellow because it's like that's really cool and it's bright and it's literally in your face and it makes you want to smile even more because it's like it's just cool and it means the world and I'm like, let's make something out of it. Let's make it a brand of myself to show that positivity can go a long way. Kindness is free, and yellow is like that bright, shiny kindness, positive thing that you need in your life every day. Because, blue is cool too. I like blue as well. And it's like certain colors just make people happy, and
Yeah.
yellow makes me happy.
I love that. What actually leads perfectly into my last question. As I've recently started following you on Instagram. You share positive thoughts, wishes, and prayers almost every day. I really do appreciate that. As a content creator, we get wrapped up on forgetting the good sides of everything. Now, I want to ask you, what do you do every day to stay positive?
Honestly, that's a hard question because I'm like, sometimes I got some down days and I don't know what to think and I don't know what to do. And I think trying to what makes me happy and what makes me positive every day is making other people positive and other people happy. That's what makes me get out of my bed every day. That what makes me excited about life, and knowing that I'm making someone smile makes me want to smile. But also I have good people around me. I have my parents, I have my friends, I have my family around me, just encouraging me, supporting me with what I do every day, and showing that no matter what I do, I just gotta keep on doing it and doing it without apology and having fun.
I think that is the best answer. Spring Sims, thank you so much for coming here today. Any fun projects you want to plug? Anything. You can plug anything. Yeah,
Well,
well.
so I'm working on a Little Machinima video. I'm actually working on two Little Machinima videos that hopefully will be out this month or next month. I'm working on my second coloring book, bringing back my podcast next year, 2024. Could be releasing on my birthday. I don't know, but 2024. Be on the lookout. And I might have some cool voiceover acting projects coming soon that are not Shrek work, something that I can actually promote and do. So be on the lookout for that as well, whether it's Sims related or non-Sims related. But other than that, that's all my fun special little announcements. If y'all want to follow me anywhere on any platform, it's literally Spring Sims, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. I literally stream on Twitch every single day, Monday through Saturday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., but on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. But yeah, it's all my little stuff.
Oh my goodness, there's so much stuff going on. Please go follow Spring Sims. The links are going to be below. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to sit down and
Yeah.
talk to you. I feel like I've known you my entire life.
It's been fun. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on the podcast. I would love to come back if you ever need another guest. I'm sure you're probably booked and busy already. But if you ever need another guest on, I'm always happy to talk even more because I can talk forever.
You are welcome back anytime. Anytime. Literally
Awesome.
anytime. Well, thank you again so much, Spring Sims. If you would like to check out this rest of this podcast, please, I have an entire series. Please go check them out. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere podcasts are played. I am there. Please go support OMG Sims. I play Amy as the Reaper.
Yes. I'm
Please.
actually playing Liam in the next, I think, episode. I have to record my lines though, so gotta do
Oh.
that. But I'm gonna be playing Liam, and I'm very excited about that. So,
Welcome to the OMG family. It's a very fun place to be.
yes.
Please go check out Davenport. I also play Amy on Davenport.
Wait,
Uh,
really? Oh wait, that's right.
I do. I
Oh
play
my
both. I
gosh.
play both Amy's because I'm fun like that. Please go check out the House of Goth. I'm also in that as well.
Mm.
Please go if you like a youth fantasy graphic novel. Please go check out my Sims story, The Rose Chronicles. We are currently on our winter break, but we will be back in 2024 with finishing up the book after 3 years. I'm very excited to finally get this chapter of my life close up. Did you like this podcast and want to be part of it? I'm currently booking spots for season 3, either a podcast interview or a written interview. So please stay tuned for that. As well, I have 2 special projects that one will be released next month and one will be released in February. So please stay tuned to everything. And please go follow Spring Sims. He's an absolutely amazing creator, and the community would not be the same without you.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
You are very welcome. We'll have a great rest of your night. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.